On July 6, 2026, the Miami Heat landed Giannis Antetokounmpo in a blockbuster trade that gutted their roster. 4 players, 3 first-round picks, a pick swap stretching to 2033, but the real shocking move came on draft night, and nobody saw it coming. The end of an era in Milwaukee and the price Miami paid, 13 years. That is how long Giannis Antetokounmpo wore a Bucks jersey. Milwaukee selected him with the 15th pick in the 2013 NBA draft, a lanky kid from Sapolia, Athens, with an impossible dream and barely enough money for the bus to practice. Over the next decade and change, he became one of the most dominant forces the sport has ever produced, 10-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year in 2020. And in 2021, he dragged Milwaukee to its first championship in 50 years, averaging 35.2 points, 13.2 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.2 steals, and 1.8 blocks in the finals. He became the only player in NBA history with 5 All-Star selections, 5 All-NBA selections, multiple MVPs, a Finals MVP, and a Defensive Player of the Year before his 27th birthday. That 2021 ring was the peak. After that championship, everything started falling apart in Milwaukee. The Bucks managed only 1 playoff series win in the years that followed and missed the playoffs entirely in 2025 through 26, finishing 32-50, 3 consecutive first-round exits before that. Injuries chipped away at the roster year after year. Key players left or were traded by the end. Not a single player from the 2021 championship team remained in Milwaukee. And Giannis kept saying the same thing publicly. He wanted another ring.
Too much, too late.
Yeah. Who's playing with them? I think that's the biggest thing.
Rich Eisen and his crew put it as bluntly as anyone could. The question was not just about Giannis leaving Milwaukee. It was about what was even left for him to play with. And the answer, across every analysis desk in sports media, was the same. Nothing.
It's Bam, it's Giannis, and it's who else? Are they better than the Knicks? No.
Wow. That was the harsh truth. Even after acquiring a 2-time MVP, the Rich Eisen panel immediately questioned whether Miami had enough to compete with the top of the East. And they had a point. By May 2025, Giannis and his agent Alex Saratzis had made clear he would not sign another long-term extension with Milwaukee. He told the front office multiple times over 13 months that it was best for both sides to part ways. Milwaukee had already made an unprecedented move the previous summer, waiving and stretching the remaining $113 million on Damian Lillard's contract over 5 seasons to sign center Miles Turner for 4 years and $108 million. During a meeting in Greece with Giannis in July, Bucks GM John Horst pitched him on the idea that the team could still contend in the East. Giannis was not buying it. The Bucks fired Doc Rivers after the season and hired Taylor Jenkins, who had coached the Grizzlies from 2019 through 25 with a .250 and .214 record, including 3 straight playoff appearances. A new coach, a new direction, but Giannis made it clear he was not going to be part of it. Bucks co-owner Jimmy Haslam admitted during the Jenkins introduction in May that trading Giannis was on the table, saying the pre-draft period was a natural time to make the move because it maximizes the assets you can get back. 2 finalists emerged, the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. The Celtics reportedly offered Jaylen Brown plus picks. Milwaukee chose Miami. The package was deeper. The mix of young players, immediate rotation talent, and future draft capital gave Milwaukee a real foundation to rebuild.
They offered JB and 2 first-round picks. They said our young players will not be involved in this trade.
Jeff Teague and the Club 520 crew had no mercy for Boston's offer. The Celtics had put Jaylen Brown on the table for a second time in 4 years. First with Kevin Durant in 2022, and the Bucks still said no thanks.
Hell yeah,
it's
bro.
time.
JB still gotta leave. They said they feel their offers right now.
And the Club 520 panel made a point that every Celtics fan needs to sit with. Why does Jaylen Brown keep getting put on the trade block? Why is it never Jason Tatum? Brown has been the one carrying the load. He showed he could be the #1 option when Tatum was injured. And yet Boston keeps trying to ship him out.
Yeah, YJT ain't name pop up.
Not one time his name ain't came up.
The Celtics situation makes it even more wild. This is the second time in 4 years that Brown has been subject to trade discussions. First with Kevin Durant in 2022, and now with Giannis. Brown is under contract for the next 3 seasons and is eligible to sign a 2-year, $141 million extension starting July 26th. The entire Celtics locker room has to be feeling some type of way right now.
They were relieved that the Celtics didn't trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis.
The Celtics fan base breathed a sigh of relief, but the fact that Boston even put that offer on the table tells you everything about how the league values Jaylen Brown versus how the Celtics value him. And if Brown ends up getting traded to Atlanta or somewhere else in the next few weeks, this moment right here is where it all started unraveling. The deal framework was agreed upon around June 22nd through 23rd, right before the draft. But it did not become official until July 6th, when the league moratorium lifted. The Heat sent Tyler Herro, Kasparis Jakusionis, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kel'el Ware, the number 13 pick in the 2026 draft, which was used on Tennessee's Nate Ament, unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, a 2030 first-round pick swap where the Bucks get the better of the two teams' picks, and a 2033 second-round pick. This was a one-to-one deal with no third parties involved.
Hero and Jaquez.
Who's left to play with? Yeah.
And a pick swap here. I mean, I won't even get into this thing.
Rich Eisen was stunned, and he had every right to be, because the scale of what Miami just gave up is almost hard to comprehend.
I mean, this thing's a ripple in a pond that will have reverberations all the way to the 2033 draft.
That is 7 drafts from now. Those are unprotected first-round picks when Giannis will be 36 and 38 years old. The Heat's title odds shifted overnight, going from 30-1, 9th shortest, to 18-1, 5th shortest at DraftKings Sportsbook. They sit at 6-1 to win the Eastern Conference behind only the Knicks and Celtics. Pat Riley had done it again. Another signature swing from the godfather of Miami basketball. He released a statement calling it one of the great trades in Heat history and saying Giannis is one of the top 5 players in the league. Giannis posted a heartfelt goodbye video looking back on 13 years of memories in Milwaukee. The Bucks ownership said his legacy in Milwaukee is secure and that it will always be felt in the rafters, throughout the community, and in the countless people he inspired. They ended with 2 words: forever a Buck. The shooting crisis and why everyone said it was too much. Here's the part nobody wanted to hear, but everyone knew was true. The Heat might have given up too much. Tyler Herro was not some role player. He was an all-star caliber scorer, a career 38.2% shooter from 3, and by far the biggest source of perimeter offense on Miami's roster. Herro alone accounted for a massive share of the team's made threes. Jaime Jaquez Jr. was a versatile young wing with 6th Man of the Year potential. Kel'el Ware was a young center with real size and developmental upside. And Kasparis Jakusionis was a recent first-round pick who Milwaukee specifically targeted over other options because he had more guaranteed years left on his rookie deal.
If I can see Jimmy Butler and Bam take a team to the finals, come on.
That logic is the entire foundation of why Miami made the trade. If Butler and Bam could reach the finals, imagine what Giannis and Bam could do together. 2 of the most dominant defensive big men in the NBA on the same roster. But the Club 520 crew immediately pointed out the one thing that is completely different this time around.
Jimmy and Bam did go to the finals, bro.
They had a bunch of shooting, though.
There it is, the word that keeps coming up in every single analysis of this trade: shooting. When Butler and Bam made their finals runs, Miami had Duncan Robinson raining threes. They had Tyler Herro providing instant offense off the bench. They had Max Strus making big shots in big moments. That deep bench of perimeter shooting is exactly what the Giannis trade just ripped away from the roster.
You ain't got to keep going, bro. We remember the team. This is not the same. It's cool.
We'll have to get some shooters.
Jeff Teague did not sugarcoat it, and the numbers back him up completely. Giannis has shot .557 for 1,953 from three-point range in his career. That is 28.5%, the worst mark among 187 active players with at least 1,000 career three-point attempts. He is an all-time great, one of the most physically dominant players in the history of the sport. He has shot 65.1% in the paint over his career, but has an effective field goal percentage of just 39.3% on shots from outside the paint. That is the 6th biggest differential among players with at least 1,000 shots both in and outside the paint over the last 30 years. Giannis does not need to shoot threes, but he absolutely needs shooters around him. Always has, always will.
But it's hard making that work, bro. Giannis needs shooters around him, bro.
So the Heat traded for a generational talent and immediately created a roster crisis. Their best shooter was gone, their young depth was gutted, Norman Powell and others were potentially leaving in free agency, and the Eastern Conference was not getting any easier. The Knicks are the defending champions. The Pistons, Magic, Celtics, Hawks, and Cavaliers are all legitimate contenders. With the roster as constructed the day after the trade, Miami was looking at a team with 2 dominant big men and not a single reliable perimeter shooter to space the floor around them.
Miami acquired him, and they're still going to be a play-in team.
That take from Rich Eisen's co-host was brutal. And if the Heat had stopped at just the Giannis trade, it might have been accurate. The Club 520 panel was already trying to solve the problem in real time, throwing out names of free agent shooters who could help fill the gap.
Oh, shooting, bro.
They don't need Norman Powell.
Giannis is cold, bro. Raw.
The Club 520 crew even started live building Miami's roster on the show, naming every free agent shooter they could think of. They threw out Quentin Grimes, Tim Hardaway Jr., Anthony Simons, Gabe Vincent, Landry Shamet, and even Klay Thompson. Everybody in basketball media was trying to figure out how Miami could fix this problem.
There's
It might
3
be
through
a bad
5.
fit.
But they need Duncan Robinson back.
Solid.
Bad.
Duncan Robinson. That name says everything about where the Heat stand on perimeter shooting. When your own analyst crew is begging for a player to come back because the shooting is that thin, you know the situation is critical. The Heat went from a team with multiple reliable three-point threats to a team where Bam Adebayo and Giannis Antetokounmpo would be clogging the same paint with nobody on the perimeter to keep defenses honest.
If they get some
damn near
snipers
Bron.
on this team, though,
It's worse than Bron.
Yeah, they get some snipers or something.
can we do that?
That was the entire NBA world asking the same question. Can they do that? Can they find snipers? The need was obvious, but the execution was going to be the hard part. The problem was as clear as it gets, and the financial reality made it worse. The Heat were facing severe financial restrictions with only $18 million to round out their standard roster because of the first apron hard cap created by the Giannis trade. They could not just go out and sign a max-level shooter. They needed to find shooting depth through creative means, and they needed to do it immediately, not in free agency, not in a trade next season right now.
Well, they said that they weren't done. They was like, we're gonna make more moves to fill this roster out. So we'll see what happens.
Meanwhile, the Bucks were getting praised for their haul. Milwaukee now had 2 lottery picks in the draft at numbers 10 and 13, plus 4 young players, multiple future first-rounders, and a pick swap. They had everything they needed to execute a full rebuild under Taylor Jenkins. And Tyler Herro, despite being on a 1-year deal, gave them either an immediate scoring option or another tradable asset to flip for even more picks.
I think Milwaukee won. You ask me. They cool.
I mean, yeah, they back was against the wall. They got as much as they could from the situation.
I think Giannis was done though. In
If
Milwaukee. They weren't gonna ever
understand.
win. They weren't gonna never win again.
That is the reality of the NBA when a superstar wants out. You take the best deal available and start building for the future. Milwaukee did exactly that, but Miami was not done. Not even close. And that is exactly what they did. Before anyone could finish debating whether the Giannis trade was worth the cost, before the ink was even dry on the deal framework, Miami made another aggressive move. A move that flew under the radar on draft night. A move that might end up being the missing piece that makes the entire Giannis era in Miami work. The shocking move nobody saw coming and why it changes everything. Draft night, June 24th through 25th, 2026. The Giannis deal framework had been agreed upon barely 48 hours earlier. Most teams in Miami's position would have waited, taken a breath, assessed what they had left, and figured out a plan over the summer. Pat Riley did the exact opposite. He went on the offensive before anyone even realized there was a problem to fix. The Heat traded up 4 spots from number 41 to number 37, sending the 41st pick plus cash to the Oklahoma City Thunder to select Louisville guard Ryan Conwell. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, the Thunder selected Conwell at 37 and immediately sent him to Miami in exchange for the 41st pick in cash. This was not some random dart throw at the board. This was calculated, surgical aggression. The Heat identified the exact skill set they lost in the Giannis trade and went and got it on draft night. Ryan Conwell is a 6'3", 215-pound left-handed shooting guard who made 347 threes through his college career, 4th most in the country over his span. He played for 4 schools in 4 years, improving at every single stop. At South Florida as a freshman, at Indiana State as a sophomore, where he averaged 16.6 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, and earned Missouri Valley Conference Newcomer of the Year honors. At Xavier as a junior, where he put up 16.5 points with All Big East third-team recognition. And in his senior year at Louisville, he averaged 18.8 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2.7 assists on 40.8% from the field, 34.5% from 3, and 83.2% from the free throw line. He led the ACC and ranked 16th nationally in three-pointers made per game at 3.29, posting 8 games of 5 or more threes in his senior season. The basketball world took notice of the pick immediately. ESPN draft insider Jeremy Woo said before the pick that Conwell was his under-the-radar prospect and praised his physicality, shooting, and toughness. After the selection, Woo said Conwell's shooting and toughness make him a strong fit for a team with one of the best second-round and undrafted track records in the league. Former NBA executive Bobby Marks called it a smart move considering Miami is likely facing financial restrictions filling out their bench. And Yahoo draft expert Kevin O'Connor said he loved the pick, noting that Conwell's combo style reminds him of Norm Powell. And it is funny he could end up being the guy that replaces Powell if Powell leaves in free agency. Then Conwell showed up to Summer League and backed up every word. In his California Classic debut against the San Antonio Spurs, the Heat went wire to wire in an 88-87 victory, with Conwell shooting 3 of 7 from beyond the arc, hitting all 4 free throws and adding 3 assists and 3 rebounds. But that was just the appetizer. In his 3rd game against the Golden State Warriors, Conwell dropped a game-high 26 points on 57% shooting from the field and 44% from 3, knocking down 4 of 9 from deep in a 95-85 win. He added 5 rebounds and 4 assists while finishing second on the team in assists and hitting a game-best 4 3-pointers. He posted 20-plus points in 2 of his 3 California Classic appearances and scored at least 16 in all of them. A second-round pick looking like a first-round steal. Heat assistant general manager Adam Simon explained the logic after the draft, saying, "Clearly we are trying to identify players that have a shooting skill," and he certainly does. Miami signed Conwell to a 3-year contract worth roughly $6.35 million total at the rookie minimum, which counts for about $1.1 million less than a veteran minimum contract, helping them navigate their cap and apron situation, value shooting on a budget, exactly what this roster needed. Now look at what Miami has actually assembled. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo form one of the best defensive frontcourt pairings in the NBA. Since Adebayo became the full-time starter, he is tied for the most all-defensive selections in the league with Rudy Gobert. During that same span, Giannis has won a Defensive Player of the Year award and made 3 all-defensive teams. Bobby Portis provides veteran energy and spacing off the bench, and Ryan Conwell gives them exactly what they lost when Tyler Herro headed to Milwaukee. A shooter who can space the floor, move without the ball, and create off the bounce when the defense collapses on Giannis in the paint. The Heat have proved they know how to manage the regular season and turn it on in the postseason. They reached the 2020 finals as the 5th seed and the 2023 finals as the 8th seed. Eric Spoelstra built championship teams around LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. He built finals teams around Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Now he gets to build around Giannis and Bam with a young shooter who fits the classic Heat mold perfectly. The risks are real and they are significant. Multiple unprotected first-round picks extending all the way to 2033. Giannis is 31 with a history of knee issues. He has played more than 70 games only once in the past 7 seasons. The depth is thin and will need to be filled through minimum deals and buyouts. Giannis is eligible to sign an extension starting October 1st, but the strong likelihood is that he waits until January 6th, 6 months after the trade is completed, when he becomes eligible for a 4-year, $275 million max extension. That is the biggest financial commitment Pat Riley has ever made on a single player. But here's what separates the Heat from every other franchise in the league. This sequence of moves landing Giannis via blockbuster trade, then immediately trading up on draft night for a shooter to fix the gap that trade created. It tells you everything about how this organization operates. They do not just make the big move and hope for the best. They make the next move before anyone else even realizes what is missing. This is the same franchise that acquired Shaquille O'Neal in 2004 and won a title in 2006. The same franchise that pulled off the LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade super team in 2010. The same franchise that landed Jimmy Butler and went to the finals twice. Every single time Pat Riley swings for the fences, and every single time he immediately starts filling in the gaps. Ryan Conwell might be a second-round pick. He might be 22 years old. He might need time to develop in Spoelstra's system, but he also might be the reason the Giannis and Bam pairing actually works long-term. Because without reliable perimeter shooting around those 2 big men, it is just 2 giants fighting for space in the paint. With a shooter like Conwell stretching the floor, it is a nightmare nobody in the East wants to deal with. The Eastern Conference just got a lot more interesting, and if Ryan Conwell keeps shooting like he did in Summer League, it might have just gotten a lot more dangerous. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.